should we go back to the past? Should we do the things that we used to do? Or should we try to carve out a new future for the church, Ron?
Yeah, I think this speaks to the intergenerational approach I've been talking about, how a lot of young folks that are coming in, they have these leadership skills and do not know the past. And so I think we should learn from the things we've done in the past and be able to make adjustments, make it 2.0, 3.0, what have you, to make sure it works, because times have changed and we have to adjust to the times. And if we don't do that, it's going to be very tough, because a lot of folks do not know they don't even know about etiquette. A lot of folks don't know a lot of different things that people are doing in the community. So I think this is a good opportunity, although it's a time that people are in distress, people are very isolated, and everyone's working in their various silos. I think this is a good opportunity for us to start to get it together by taking that approach. The challenge is a lot of folks do not want to listen, and they don't want to humble themselves or adjust to the times.
I don't understand humble themselves.
Yeah, humbling themselves, they think they may know it all. And all of us have something to learn. We should always consider ourselves students. And I think that if we don't do that, it's a lot of noises. For instance, I used to go to all these different meetings in the community, and I used to say to myself, we're not getting a lot of this stuff done because everyone has these great ideas, and when it's time to do the follow-up, you're there by yourself. You have the faithful few working on various projects, and that has happened in the church as well.
Well, I hear so much about what the church is not doing. I hear so much about the negativity, the things that happen in the church that should not be happening. And what people don't understand is that there, by the grace of God, I could be in that same situation,
right?
Of some of the broken people. People bring their brokenness into the church, and they should be bringing that brokenness into the church, but if they're Christian believers, they should be healing from their brokenness.
Right.
If they're truly walking with Christ, they should be healing from their brokenness. And I don't hear a lot coming from the pulpits for people to heal, to grow up, to mature,
right,
to walk into your destiny. I still hear pastors still making the congregation dependent upon them. For example, if I was not here, if I didn't preach for 5 weeks, if I didn't preach for 2 months, this church will go on, because I only preach one Sunday a month anyway. So they're not used to me being in the pulpit every single Sunday, the same voice, the same stories, the same manipulation. They hear from other pastors in the church. So I do it because I'm not going to tax myself the way that I used to, and I do it because I want the church to be independent from me, my presence. I'm a contributor. I'm the senior pastor, but I'm a contributor like the other pastors.
Right.
So go ahead. I know you want to say something.
Well, I was going to say that speaks to your leadership. Leaders develop leaders into leadership, right? And I think what has happened, and we said this on the last broadcast, the earlier broadcast, that we become so used to idolizing one individual based on personality, as opposed to on, the spirit or the anointing or so forth. And what has happened, people get so used to being the only one. And so when you don't give other people the opportunity to grow, it becomes problematic. And then if something happens to the key leader, then the church does collapse.
Right.
And I commend you for that, to be able to share the pulpit. A lot of pastors don't do that.
Isn't that a form? If you're not careful, cannot that become a form of Idolatry.
That's what it is.
It's idolatry.
Idolatry, yeah.
You're idling the man. And this becomes the problem.
Excuse me, I used the wrong word. I knew where you were going.
You said adultery.
I said adultery.
That too, maybe.
I'm glad you put that right, because I heard that. I listened, and our viewers are hearing that. You know what I mean?
I caught it.
Yeah.
Idolatry.
Okay.
Right.
With an I.
No, and we have to be so careful.
Right.
You know, I'm reminded of I believe it was Peter, if I'm not mistaken, whom was in the boat with the disciples, saw Jesus walking afar, was focused on that, right? Though there was a storm going on, he was focused on Jesus. And he says, if that be you, bid me come. And he said, you know, it's me, come. And so he literally steps out of the boat onto water,
right,
and is doing the supernatural because his focus is Jesus.
Right.
And as he starts to look and see that, oh my God, look at me, I'm walking on the water, and take his eyes off Jesus and look at the circumstance and what God was doing through him, he began to sink.
Right.
And had the sense to be able to say, Master, and he pulled him up and said, why did you doubt? And so, but the point is, he took his eyes off of Jesus. And I'm saying as God begins to use us, as we yield to him as pastors or leaders or whatever, we have to always, we talked about this earlier, if my people, this is the people of God who God is using, who are called by his name, would humble ourselves. That's a if, right? And we've got to be very intentional in being able to humble ourselves and to seek God's face and to turn from our wicked ways. Just because you're people whom God is using, we've not arrived. And as long as we live in these bodies of flesh, we have to continue to acknowledge our depravity and our carnal flesh that's hostile to our divine nature.
Right. Have y'all seen that movie Godfather of Harlem?
Yes. I've seen
Okay,
it, yeah.
it's Whitaker. I forgot.
Al Whitaker?
Al Whitaker is the key actor.
You say Al Whitaker?
Not Al
Is it
Whitaker.
Al?
What's his name?
What
Whitaker. Whatever his name is.
Okay.
It's Whitaker. I know
I'll
it's
find
Whitaker.
out.
He's a good. He's a
What's
good
the name of the
actor.
movie?
It's Godfather of Harlem.
Yeah.
And basically, what happened? They showed Adam Powell. It's it's fictional, but there's real characters in the movie, and they showed the Muslims and the Christians, and Malcolm X was, there was a person who played Malcolm X. Adam Powell played, I forgot the actor who played Adam Powell, but it showed the differences between Islam and Christianity, and the discipline, and how Malcolm had said Muslims think they move from their thinking as opposed from their heart. And it was interesting to see the differences, but yet how both of them, and we talked about this in the last broadcast, we need and both as far as, and I know there are, differences spiritually and so forth, but it also speaks to the fact that we have to start collaborating with other folks, because we become isolated and we be in our silos, and then we're not getting anything done.
Absolutely. Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker, that's his name.
There it is. I knew it was something.
I said Al Whitaker.
Yeah,
like Al Roker or something.
Right. I think you were thinking about Al Roker, and I wasn't sure that I wasn't sure that you two made a mistake. I wasn't sure, so I wanted to be careful. But I knew,
right?
I knew Al.
Was not right.
I knew that the Al thing wasn't right, because
there's a Pastor Alvin Whitaker here in the city of Boston. I think that's who I.
It might have been. It might have been
Just,
something like that, because I was like, wait a second. Right. That didn't sound right.
I knew a forest. There was a tree somewhere. I said every time I think about Whitaker, I think about a tree.
Right.
And forest. There you go.
You got to see it. It's really good. It's history, and it's also exciting.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it kind of talks to some of the things we're speaking to as relates to helping the needy. Because the Muslims were like helping people get off drugs and so forth.
Yeah.
They were feeding the communities. And I mean, it's a really good demonstration of the past. And it shows the people that were involved, Cassius Clay and Adam Powell and so forth. So it's really good, a good watch. And it's a series on
Epic.
what's it, Hulu?
Yeah.
Hulu, yeah. It's good.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that forest guy is really nice. So again, we're speaking about the event, and Pastor Hobbs, you have it there.
I do.
So I don't want to make any mistakes. Why don't you tell people what's happening?
Sure. So a Christmas season free dinner, and I want to say Christmas season because some people have been confused to think that it's actually Christmas Day. No, it's not Christmas
Day.
It's Christmas season. So it's happening after Christmas. Christmas is on this coming Sunday, and it's Thursday. And so it is a Christmas season free dinner for those in need here at the Global Ministries Christian Church, 670 Washington Street, Dorchester, Mass. And that will be Thursday, December 29th, 2022, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Now, it's my understanding that Ron Bell is, again, it's going to be Hopa's food.
Hopa.
Yeah, Hopa's food.
Okay. Taste of
And
Eden.
Taste of Eden, yeah.
That chicken.
Yeah, it's a chicken.
I want some chicken now.
Okay. You know?
No, I go over there and she's like, "Oh, they got to get Ron Bell some chicken."
Yeah, she's
good.
She's
No,
good.
She's good. It's good people.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling after this broadcast. We're
It's
gonna
raining.
after this
You can
broadcast.
stay right here and eat it.
We're gonna be hungry.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right. You the pastor.
You know.
But I also want to acknowledge the sponsors, the Boston Red Sox, which is really good for them to be coming in our community, along with Boston Praise Radio and TV, WBPG-LP 102.9
Help us, Lord.
FM. Yeah, WBPG-LP 102.9. Boston Black News.
Al Roker over here.
Global
You got
Ministries Christian Church.
Dunk
the Vote, Mamleo, Healing Our Land, Marcus Anthony Hall Educational Institute. So please come on out and get some good food. And when we say people in need, let's not think that you have to be homeless.
That's right.
There are a lot of folks that are struggling and suffering in silence, and I do want to talk about that.
Absolutely, and I hope you do, because when we say in need, it's not even necessarily in need of a meal,
Right.
but more in need of community
and fellowship.
and fellowship
It's so important.
and hope.
And that's why we have Hopa.
Sookie,
But in all
you got that one.
seriousness,
That's
you'd
good.
be surprised people that are sitting around,
Laughing.
don't have. Look at
Twitch. Yeah.
and that affected a lot of black men in particularly.
Have they analyzed what really happened and why yet?
They
Have you
haven't. They haven't said any cause. It's been kept very quiet, but does it matter?
Did you know him and his personality before that?
I'd known him from the show Ellen DeGeneres, and
Yeah.
he could dance.
Yeah.
He was a very good dancer, by the way. Him and his wife had, what do you call them?
TikTok.
TikTok videos.
Yeah.
That's bad.
And
That's bad.
he was always smiling, happy. You think that everything's all right.
Sure.
And then, wow.
Yeah.
And in fact, if I didn't know him, but I felt I knew him because he was a brother.
Yeah.
And you look up to someone when you see someone doing well. Because I always want to see black men in particularly do well. And for me to hear that, it just felt like it was me.
Yeah.
You know? And then I talked to some other brothers. I just started calling some of the brothers that I know, family members and so forth. And they were feeling the same thing. And so often black men, they suffer in silence because we're taught to be macho. We're supposed to not cry. We're not supposed to show our emotions and so forth. And the reality is we need each other.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about this event, all these brothers and sisters that are out there, don't feel as if you are getting a handout.
That's right.
This is not a handout. This is a time of sharing, caring, and eating some really good chicken. So make sure you come on down to Global Ministries Christian Church, 670 Washington Street, right in the historic Common Square, Dorchester, Mass.
Right. Well, don't make a mistake and give your address. You almost. I thought you were going to give your home address.
I've had a couple of them lately, so which one did I say this time? 670?
You did 670, but you messed up at
Why
the
do
beginning.
you like messing with me. Every time I come in here, you tell people I'm getting tea, going to the restroom. Now, if I start telling everyone when you go to the restroom, it'll be a broadcast, but I'm not going to do that.
Well, we'll be on for quite a while, right?
Right.
There'll be a lot of comments. Okay, all right now.
And they're going to have the bus to pick people up, because I can drive it. Where do you live again? 617-282-0685.
You know, when we had a Thanksgiving event here, we do now every year, and before the pandemic, we had people coming in to eat, and there's a story. I was here for that when a couple came in, a husband and wife, seniors, and they just wanted to do something together, and they came here. And then one of the years, she came by herself.
Who's that?
I don't know the name, but the lady came by herself, and she said,
someone from the community.
From the community, and she said, my husband died. So she was still wanted to come into this community and eat and be around people. And again, the hope part of what is happening is what's speaking to me.
Yeah.
I feel like we're fulfilling the mission of the church by doing it.
Absolutely.
But so that gives me hope that the church is relevant or can be relevant, and we're bringing hope to people. By, for example, Minister Priscilla, if you see on the couch there are about 10, 15 boxes. Those are hand sanitizers, 95 masks. They're actually testing kits.
Right.
All of this for free. And we're gonna give them out to everybody.
Good.
And we're putting a track in there, a Christian track. You know, if somebody says to me, "Why are you always got to do that?" Because that's the mission.
That's right.
It's one thing to feed people, and we should feed people.
Yeah.
But if we don't give them the hope, the truth about where the hope comes from,
that's right.
Then
we're doing the same thing that you're talking about in terms of making ourselves idols, right? We want to empower people, point them to the source, and we want to be vessels of that source, but we're not the answer. So pointing people to a relationship with Christ, giving them practical resources. Jesus fed folks. He visited folks who were in prison, met them at their point of their need, and built community, but always pointed them to the source. We're a vessel. My father says Christians are funnels through who God's blessings flow, not baskets that they're stored. So, and he gives seed to the sower. So we're always pointing people to Jesus. Don't give us the credit. Give the credit to Jesus.
Right. Well, you know, the other pieces that we're always telling folks, you know, you got to know the Lord. God did it, this, that, whatever. And these folks are not thinking about God because they're hungry. Or they're broke. Or homeless. There are a lot of people dealing with trauma, and housing issues.
Absolutely.
And so this is an opportunity for you to be able to meet other folks who can help you and lead you. We can give folks the word, build them up, but we also have to equip them with reality. And that's what we've been missing in the church. Okay, you need a job? 617-635-4000. What's that number? 311. That may not work, I'm not sure. But that's where you go. So we're working on developing a guide, a Know Your Government guide, so you can understand the different services and how to access this money that's coming to the city of Boston. And people need to be told how to do that and shown how to do that. So what's so good about this as far as the church is being the lead sponsor and having other nonpartisan organizations and nonprofits working with the church, which has been speaks to the problem I talked about with the faith-based money before.
Well, for me, it's important that the Boston Red Sox
and
representative reached out to us and felt that we were the type of vessel that they can invest in to do this in the community. That to me is important.
It's very important.
And I want us to do it with excellence. Last night we had our second Zoom meeting. I've been sending out 3 different documents that lets people know each day leading up to this event where we should be, what we should be doing, and I've been chronicling the whole journey. And I was concerned last night that I have it so structured that people would think that I'm trying to take. I apologize to people. I said, I'm not trying to take this over. I'm just trying to structure it. And Karen, who was on the phone call, you don't have to apologize. Why are you apologizing?
But you know, people need structure and direction because we're distracted by so many different things. And so I think it's really good. It's actually professional.
You think it's professional?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that a compliment?
Well, I thought you was replicating what I showed you how to do the work. So you learned, Grasshopper. You learned. Past the Grasshopper, you really did well. I'm proud of you.
I'm going to give the number out now for those of you who are in your automobiles listening to us. And it's 617-282-0685. 617-282-0685. 0685. My question is, do you need to be around some positive people? Do you need a meal? Do you need fellowship? Do you need to be loved? Do you need to be cared for? Would you come to the church on the 29th and enjoy a meal from Hope's restaurant being delivered here? And I'm hoping that many of you who are listening to us, as Pastor Hobbs said, and then Ron picked up on it because he didn't have anything else to say. He picked up on Pastor Hobbs' comment.
Okay.
That you don't have to be down and out
Right.
to come into the house of God to have a meal. You just need to be like me, hungry, and I want a good meal, and I want to be around. I want to be around positive people. Yeah.
Why don't we just say not people in need? We just say the community, because I think that you don't want to stereotype folks,
right.
And because they put a wall up, especially if you're depressed and you're going through. The last thing you need for someone to think you're dealing with hard times. You know what I mean? So let's make it where it's like it's community. Those that are dealing with major challenges in life. And that's probably everybody.
Absolutely.
So come on down. It's at 4:00, by the way.
Right. You know, make your thought. Then I want to add, tell you what I received online last night.
I was going to say, you know, in addition to if you yourself need that, if you know someone, right, reach out. Right, pick somebody up who you know may be struggling. Right, bring them. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's the other piece. It's not just about you, but about you may be able to bring someone who you know is elderly, who's depressed, who's just going through and needs community. Right. So you pick them up, you bring them, and you because we want to sit and break bread and build fellowship. It's not just about the meal. It's about us really building relationship, building that community. And the other thing we're offering is once people are done eating, if they do need some supplemental groceries, we do have some resources down here. People can come downstairs with a bag. Sometimes you go to a food pantry and you get you get a bunch of stuff, some stuff you like, some stuff you don't. Right. Well, this is something you got your bag and you can go and pick from the things that are here to be able to supplement your food, and or maybe someone a neighbor who might need some supplemental groceries that is immobile and can't come. So want people to know that one, you can reach out to other folks, bring them here, not just about you, but also we're offering resources for people to take home to have and or to give food to somebody they might know that might need food.
And also people in the community. We want folks to know that Boston Black News is here, the church is here, and various other organizations that are sponsoring. They're here for you in this area, in the Carbon Square area. And those that are running community-based organizations and other faith-based groups and churches in this area, come on down and enjoy a meal.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You know, breaking bread is something that we really, particularly during the pandemic, people have become much more isolated. That way before. It just got intensified because people now had an excuse, distance, so forth. And we understand that. We had to do that. But now it's a time that's been relatively lifted. Now, I'm curious, did we talk about, in terms of, protocol, in terms of, the mask or distance?
So that was asked last night at our meeting, by the way. And one of the planners asked the question because I wanted us in the church to relax our mask discipline.
Yeah.
But again, I was reading last night again about the uptick.
Yeah.
And so
And this triple-demic,
yeah.
you know, they're talking about the flu, they're talking about RSV and COVID.
Right.
So so there's those three.
Well, I think we have to be very careful
Yeah.
because I know a lot of
Yeah.
people that are catching
Getting
it,
sick. It's true.
and
Yeah.
it's
But the reality for that day though, the reality, for example,
Yeah.
I'm talking about me.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a mask on that day.
You are.
For me,
Yeah.
I think I need to wear a mask.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
but how are you going to eat? How are you going
You
to
take it off when you eat.
take it off
Yeah.
when I
But
eat.
Okay.
But I think,
like
I
you're
think
in a restaurant,
right,
Okay.
right. So,
No, we have to
you
tell
don't know what
Yeah.
that's like.
No, yeah.
I know you don't know what that's like being in a restaurant. So it's been a long time. So when people come into the building, they may have a mask on or they may not have a mask on. But if you give them a mask when they come in and they walk into the dining room and they're going to eat in 2 minutes, that's like a waste of time. So I don't want to say everybody
Strict,
has to wear a mask
right.
because you're not going to wear it while you're eating and talking to the person next to you.
So it seems like we're gonna have a hybrid like we're doing in church now, where if you want to wear a mask, you wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, you don't. No.
No, everyone's still wearing a mask.
Okay.
In the church?
Okay.
You're right in
Okay.
that we did say in our church bulletin.
Yeah.
I had recommended that in January we go to the hybrid
Okay.
model because
Okay.
we're not there yet.
Which is,
but again,
what is hybrid?
it's you can wear a mask or not wear a mask.
Okay.
But there's
Make that choice.
sections. So if you want to wear a mask, that's in an
You
area.
go to the balcony.
And there's another area. If
People don't know these terms. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. No, we gotta explain it.
We appreciate that. You ever see how people will make a comment like he just made?
Uh-huh.
People may not understand that, so we need you to explain it. He's really means to explain it for me. He's put
I
other
actually
people
did.
in it.
I
Okay.
did because they're going to ask me. The folks are sending me text messages now. Can I come to that? Sure, you can.
I didn't see any text message.
Okay, y'all see it.
Okay. Yeah. So I again, when I was asked that question, I didn't really have an answer, and I said to myself, if they come in with a mask or not with a mask, as soon as they go in, we're going to begin to feed them, so they have to take the mask off.
Right.
Right. So when they're through eating, now some people may stay and just want to talk to somebody next to them. I don't want to say you have to wear a mask. I think people need to make that decision for themselves. I'm wearing one.
So when they come in, when they enter the church,
Right.
you're going to have masks there.
There's a table.
And that's the hybrid, whether you want to use it or not, or you're not letting people take them in.
I wasn't even going to have a mask there because there's no need to have a mask there because if you give them the mask, as soon as they walk across that threshold,
They're gonna
take it off because they're going to eat. The same thing about a restaurant, right? We go in, we take our mask off we sit there and we
So
talk.
they'll probably be wearing a mask or not anyway. So they'll come in with a mask.
Some will, some won't.
Some won't. Right. It's
Yeah,
fine.
So, but I think the people that are serving people,
Oh, yeah.
that just for their own security and for their security, wear a mask because you're going over to a lot of different people. People sitting at the table will be sitting with that one person for the duration, but the rest of us, we're going to be interacting with a number of people, and that's the other thing. We have no idea how many people might come out. We don't.
Right.
There's we didn't put an RSVP on that. It's just trying to encourage people to come in. I'd like to see a number of people come in, but if the numbers are not what we want, Karen and I and the kids have a lot of food.
Well,
I'll take some.
You know what I'm saying?
and we do have that contingent plan. I mean, Sister Arvo talked about.
To give.
Well, what's the capacity?
Yeah, talk about that.
What's the capacity? What's the maximum amount folks can stay there? To sit there, rather.
Okay, so our vision. Let's talk about our vision, not
let's do it.
capacity.
Okay.
So the vision is about 125 people in my brain. That's what I have, about 125. But as people were saying, because I didn't think about this, you're not going to have 125
people.
people sitting there for the duration. You're going to have people come and go.
Right.
Some people might actually come in and say, I don't even want to sit down. Can I have a meal? You got to give them a meal. You can't say you have to sit down. So I just think that it's going to be coming and going. We see that anyway.
Is it going to be like Uber drivers, Uber Eats? Folks come in and get meals and leave? They can do that?
Yeah, we want them to come in and be a part of the community.
Okay.
So we're not going to say, you can come in, grab your meal, and leave. Because we have a member of our church who is an outreach person like Pastor Hobbs is, right? And so their concern is for the inside, but their concern is for the outside.
Right.
And that's why 200 meals went out for Thanksgiving, because there's an outreach
mindset.
concept.
And
But
so one of the things Deacon Arbor she's got a whole crew of folks, and they will, at the end, if we have a bunch of food that people haven't come to sit, then that food will be packaged up and meals and will be delivered to areas that we know people are struggling, Mass and Cass and other little pockets of the community where we can just go and bless them with a meal. But the vision is to have them to come and sit down. On what we did for Thanksgiving, we actually did a hybrid because we did have people who came and sat down. Majority of the food was delivered to sober homes, to elderly places, to in the community, people just we know literally on the street.
Right.
So this one we wanted people to come more focused on post-Christmas and before New Year's, because this is a time, where some folks are, with post the hustle and the bustle or whatever, or the pain of a loved one not being with them in this season and going through that. So post-Christmas, this is 4 days post-Christmas, coming to the church. Let's build community, and if we have leftover, that food won't go to waste because we'll package it up and we will disseminate it throughout the community.
What people used to do is go pick folks up at the shelters.
Yeah.
Because of COVID.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things have changed.
Yeah. Well, I talked to a gentleman who is elderly, right? And he lives he's in a wheelchair. And he's by himself, and he's very depressed sometimes. I mean, I can't imagine how it is. This used to be a pastor, right? And had a stroke, so his talking is challenged, and people don't want to struggle to try to understand what you're saying.
Right.
So he's alone, and so I've literally seen him push himself in a wheelchair with groceries up and down the street. And I didn't even one day I didn't even know it was him, and I said to him, just because. People, you have to ask people, can I help you nowadays? So I saw him struggling. I said, can I help you? He said, sure. I was able to push him to his house, and then I realized we knew each other.
Wow.
And so I invited him to this. And he said initially, oh, this is great. But he said, but I need more notice. I need 2-day notice because I have to schedule the ride.
The ride to come pick
But here's the thing. He thought it was happening on Christmas because it said Christmas, and he didn't realize that it's not Christmas Day because that is happening in a matter of 2 days, and he wouldn't be able to do that. I said, no, it's not on Christmas. You've got a week. And he said, oh, okay. So to your point about rides, people who may be in a place that they can schedule even the ride to pick them up and to bring them here and back.
Are there any people from the Red Sox coming?
The person who initiated this, the contact, lives in California.
Okay.
So I doubt very seriously if he's flying in for the day. I haven't asked for anybody from the Red Sox. Eric has asked me that question at least twice. I didn't want to try to pull the person in from the Red Sox because, again, I didn't know what to. I want to have this one, thank the Red Sox, and just thank the Red Sox, and then next year, because I'd like to do this next year, invite them in. The offer wasn't made.
Right.
The offer was that the Red Sox would help support it. So I just wanted to leave it there.
No, I got you.
And I think if Pastor Hobbs is there and you're there and I'm there, I think if a Red Sox player came in, I don't know who would be excited because they wouldn't even know unless the person said I'm with the Red Sox.
They didn't do anything this year anyway.
Right. So when they see you and me and Pastor Hobbs, that's more of a treat. It's not.
I don't know.
Well, anyway, I'll speak for myself.
There you go.
Well, you'll be able to turn out at least 50 people.
Oh, Lord, help us.
Well, I think that, even those who've been on the broadcast here, they should come out and to, celebrate and to fellowship with us.
Absolutely.
Some of the guests, some of the,
Elected officials.
some of our past broadcasters
Yes.
should come by. It'd be
Yes.
good to see them.
Yeah.
So come on down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the event is happening on December 29th. It's a Thursday.
Thursday.
And I like the idea of doing it after Christmas because after all that's over, then we have that long period of time when people could be sitting and saying, gee, so-and-so's gone.
Yeah.
The aftermath. They need that hope. Let's go to the phone lines and let's see who's with us this morning. Go ahead, caller. You're live on the air.
Good morning. My name is Dicko, and I'm calling for Wasp Bay. And all this talk about food remind me of a very old saying. It said, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you coming
What time, huh?
at 4:00? I'd like to meet you because you call in a lot. I don't even know what you look like, brother. And you see me.
Well, I never saw you, so I terms like that.
Okay. No, seriously, brother, it'd be good to meet you. Because I think that those that are calling in, it'd be good to kind of meet folks and,
Put
we
a
could
face.
discuss face to face.
And build that community that he's actually even talking about.
Right.
That's exactly what we're talking about. We're not just giving you a meal for a day.
Right.
This is about building relationship so that we can be able to collectively be able to be sustained as community.
Right. And you can do some of the teaching. Because you have a lot to say and a lot of good questions to ask.
Ezekiel, let me ask you this question. I think I've asked this question before. Are you watching us on television, or are you listening to us on the radio, or just on the internet?
I listen to you on through the radio.
Okay. So when the radio when we go off at 9:00, do you there's other ways that you can listen to us all day if you want to?
Oh, I didn't know that, too.
See? Okay.
All
We
right.
got to fix that.
Okay. So
He's actually on 102.9 FM
He's on the
on the
FM.
terrestrial dial.
right. So whenever Deco's calling, he's listening to us on the radio.
Interesting.
So once the radio goes off, there are a lot of people who do not know that we stay on the other platforms. So Deco, do you have a computer in the house?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So if you were to go to www.bostonpraiseradio.tv, our webpage would come up. And on the webpage, you can click a button that will allow you just to listen to it like you're listening to a radio station. Or just below the button is a TV screen. And if we're live, you'll see it. And if it's not live, we have a screensaver up, but you can still hear it. Because when Ron Bell said, why don't you come by so we can see you, he said, because you can see me. I noticed I knew your response. I knew what your response was going to be. No, I don't see you.
I thought it was because it was Doc.
No.
He was trying to be funny.
No.
Okay.
It's because he's listening to you on the radio, not the TV.
I'm glad you clarified that.
So, Deco, do you have Roku TV or Apple TV in your home?
I have local TV, yeah.
You have Roku?
Yep.
Oh, so do you know how to bring a station up on Roku and put it on?
I do.
Okay. Well, if you can bring up Boston Praise, you can click on Boston Praise, and app will come up, and you'll be able to actually see us on your TV.
Cool.
But if we saw you in person, we can actually bring you to the studio. You can bring your chicken with you from upstairs. You can come into the studio. We can show you the studio, show you how it all works. How's that?
Sounds good.
And also, ask the question, Ron.
Yeah, there's another way you can reach us too, because we have different broadcasters. Boston Black News. You want to explain that?
Right, that would be www.bostonblacknews.com. That would also be on our webpage. So you could bring us up right now and get to see what Ron Bell looks like, and once you see what he looks like, you probably go back to the radio anyway.
You're not laughing, Deco. Why don't I meet you on December 29th at 4 o'clock? Come a little earlier. Anyway, I would love to meet you, man, because you asked some very good questions. When we bring in guests on Boston Black News during the Dunk the Vote broadcast or Healing Our Land or whatever, we really appreciate the questions that you asked the various guests, because some of the times they think we are asking just questions. It's good for them to hear from the community, from folks such as yourself.
And Deco, before you go, I just want to respond, like Pastor Hobbs did, that we're bringing in people and we're feeding them, we're doing it.
Right.
Some people want to connect with us after that. And I can remember when we first brought Lon Bell into the studio. He's broken down, tears in his eyes, really struggling. And we could have just fed him and taken care of him, but we taught him how to broadcast. And he's a big time broadcaster now.
Deco?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe him?
I didn't catch that because someone was coughing in the background.
Good. No, we really appreciate you coming in, bringing a friend, bring family members. It's a good opportunity. There are people that are coming in town. Prayerfully, they get here because of the weather conditions. Bring your family. Give them the opportunity to meet us and to meet the Boston Black News and Boston Praise Radio and TV and the different other groups, family members, and so forth. So this would be a good time for us.
Deco, thanks for calling. We love you, brother.
Yep. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Pastor, the other thing I want to say about the main webpage is that there is the instant chat capacity there, right? So that's another place that we build community, right? So not just with us that are talking to each other, but to the folks who are in the instant chat are also building relationship. Mm-hmm. So right now on our webpage, Ken Russell actually said, "Good morning from Washington, D.C.
I'm glad you went there.
Always a pleasure to know what is happening back home." So apparently he's from Boston, though he lives in D.C.
That's awesome.
And so we were able to communicate with him. So it's just amazing as we have all of these different platforms, and they're all mechanisms that people are engaging us,
right?
And engaging each other, which is one of the reasons why Boston Praise Radio ONTV Network is something that really our community has to support. I got to tell you, Pastor and I were having a conversation a little earlier offline about how many people, pastors in particular, and I'm really challenged, black pastors, right, who are on pirated stations. And I
really?
Yes, man. Some know, some don't know. But it's really a problem when here we are, the only church-based, biblically grounded, community-based, FCC licensed, multimedia platform owned by a black man.
Right.
I just don't. It's beyond my comprehension. A prophet is without honor in its own hometown.
Right.
Why people come and they want to come. They come through when they're running for political office. They come through when they want, to utilize the platform, but won't sow into the platform consistently for it to be a vehicle that can be able to consistently build community that we own.
Well, I'm gonna take the high road and believe that they don't know they're on pirated stations.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I hate to tell you, I'm talking. Some may not, but I'm telling you, people who we've had conversation with who do know Ron.
Really?
So I'm not speaking about. Yes, there are some people who may be ignorant to that, but I'm talking about people who are fully aware and continue to do it because it benefits them. It means the short instant gratification, not looking. And these are people, some who are believers.
Do they believe? Do they pay? Do you know if they
I don't know if they pay. I don't know, but whether they do or whether they don't, it's the point you are helping to build in a platform that is not on a solid platform. It's not solid ground. And as a believer, it's not right.
Right.
It's just not right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really too bad. And that happens so often in our community, and I'll speak for our community, that when you see someone moving up or succeeding in life, there's folks always taking shots or not supporting them. And that's really something that we need to work on. And when we say we want to go back or should we change different things, that's something that we do need to change as far as, because that's become repetitive behavior. And it's really sad, but you work with those who that want to work, and then you just move forward.
Amen.
Because everyone's not going to go along with the vision.
It's true.
It's
true. Well, we're gonna do what we gotta do.
And the most important people are the ordinary folks. It ain't just the pastors, it's because we can pull them from the bottom, pull them from the community.
If we have one person come in and their belly is full, and they were thinking in terms of maybe doing something negative to themselves, and they got a meal, and again, that's a one-time meal, but that gave them a reprieve to live or get help.
And Pastor, it's happened. We you recall, we did outreach in the community outside. We did hamburgers and hot dogs and had a big community outreach event, and a gentleman came who was homeless, dealing with trauma, mental illness, was suicidal.
Wow.
And he came to the church, and we actually were able to help him go to Teen Challenge, and he's gone through, back and forth. But he said he came to get a hamburger, and literally and that prevented him from literally taking his life. So we know we've got testimony of the impact of it happening in the past.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when Georgette, myself, and 5 others went to the Lenox Street housing development to occupy. We were going to live in an abandoned apartment. The city gave us permission to do that. And we stayed there for the week to work with the residents and show them how to fight back, because we were going to leave. We didn't live there. And I didn't like going into places and posturing, but not making any contribution. And a man came to us on the day that we left. And he said, I want to thank you guys for coming down. And we said, hey, this has been a great learning experience for us. And he said, no. I really want to thank you guys for coming down. I said, okay. And then he said, prior to you guys coming down for the week, my wife was suicidal. Because a lot of the drug dealers and those using drugs would shoot up in the basement of their apartment building. And there were needles downstairs, defecation. It was just blood. It was terrible. And she thought that one of those individuals was going to attack her and violate her. So she wanted to die. She didn't want to talk to her husband at all about it. And so he came out to say that for the week that we were there, people weren't going into that basement. It was quiet because we were there. It was quiet. And it gave the wife a reprieve to go to her husband and say, I have been thinking about this. But because they've been here for a week, I'm feeling better. And that's why he came. So you never know. You might have a plan just to feed people and nothing else.
Right.
You may not be able to do anything else. You may not ever meet that person again. But on that day, they came in from the cold. On that day, their belly was full. On that day, we've seen people come to different events that we've had, or even a radio station, and show up in the church.
Oh yeah,
I've had that.
Oh yeah.
So that's learning how to teach a fish to.
How to teach a person to fish as opposed
fish
to
fish too. Okay, we're gonna teach them how to fish too. Are we gonna have some fish? Anyway, Christmas season, free dinner for those that are challenging with various issues in our community. Thursday, December 9th, 2022, from 4 to 7 p.m. We want to thank all our sponsors, the Boston Red Sox, Boston Praise Radio and TV, WBPG-LP 102.9. That is a mouthful. FM radio.
the end of the day.
Boston Black News. Global Ministries Christian Church, Dunk the Vote, Mamleo, Healing Our Land, Marcus Anthony Hall Educational Institute.
If you teach a fish, you're going
to teach him how to fish. We're going to teach him how to fish. First, we're gonna pick him up in the bus. Then we're gonna bring him some fish, and then we're gonna teach him how to fish. So, Deco, we're gonna teach people how to fish.
Right, we're not going to teach the fish how to swim.
No, we're gonna eat the fish.
Okay. Pastor Hobbs was telling me we had station ID, so I was thinking about station ID at the same time I was thinking about fish.
Can't do more than one thing at a time. But he talks about me. Okay, I'm not gonna say anything. So,
We're going
it's
to
cool.
station ID. We'll be right back.
He has never lost.